Listen, I'm a native doctor, but I have a question for Christians who have actually read the Bible. So listen very well so you can get the question before you answer. You can answer in the comments, okay? Understand the question because I'm going to lay it down. But the summary of it is, who betrayed who between Jesus and Judas? Was it Jesus that betrayed Judas, or was it Judas that betrayed Jesus? So that's the summary of the question, but I'm going to add more details using biblical chapters. So first of all, remember that Jesus was the Messiah. He was God before he was born, and he was born as man, and he understood the mission. He still has memory of what was happening before he was born. And out of his disciples, he chose one that had a dubious character, called Judas. Why would you add a thief into one of your 12 disciples? That's first question. Second question, if you look at this Bible passage, you will see that Satan possessed Judas. Alright? So now the festival of unleavened bread called the Passover was approaching, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law are looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people, right? Then what? Satan entered into Judas. By this time, Judas was already Jesus' disciple. Why didn't Jesus give Judas a spiritual protection that he cannot be possessed? Remember, Judas was a thief. Let's backtrack a little. So here, alright, John 6:70-71, Jesus was saying, then Jesus replied, have I not chosen you the 12? Yet one of you is a devil. So all the while, Jesus knew that there was a devil among them. Alright? So who is this devil? He said, he meant Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, who, though one of the 12, was later to betray him. At this time, Judas did not know he was going to betray Jesus. Normally, his nature was a thief. Look at this. If you look at this, right? Judas replied, so but one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later to betray him, objected, why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wages. Verse 6, he did not say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief, a keeper of the money bag. He used to help himself to what was put in it. This guy was a treasurer, and he keeps stealing money. This was his level of crime. In his lifetime, he never imagined that he's going to do something as betray the Messiah of the whole world. This was not his type of crime, right? He was just a thief. Why would Jesus add a thief into his 12 disciples? Okay, I'm still laying it down. Okay, this time the guy was still doing his petty criminal stuff. It was not in his mind that he was going to betray the Messiah. Alright? So back to this verse. Satan entered Judas, and what did Satan now make Judas do? He was one of the 12, and Judas went to the chief priests and the officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. Look, anything that happened after Satan possessed Judas was not Judas doing it. Alright? The Satan was what led Judas to go and have this discussion. Alright? Now the question is, why didn't Jesus protect Judas from Satan's possession? Okay? Why didn't he preach to Judas? To stop him from stealing, or even tell him what's going to happen. But look at what happened when Satan possessed Peter. Satan possessed Peter 2 to 3 times in the Bible. Many people don't know. Look at this point. Jesus was saying that he was going to be betrayed and stuff, okay? But look at what he responded. He said, Simon, Simon, Satan has asked a sift all of you as wheat. Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat. Verse 32, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail, and when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. So Judas was not the only weak disciple, but when Satan has made a bargain behind Peter, alright, to mess him up, Jesus prayed for Peter. Jesus intervened and prayed for Peter so that his faith may be strong. Why didn't Jesus pray for Judas? What did Judas do? He was not the only bad guy there, okay? Keep watching. So they were having a meal, right? And Jesus was saying, hey, I'm going to be betrayed. And the disciples were asking, who's going to betray you? We're only 12 here, right? Who's going to betray you? And Jesus knew. He said, and Jesus answered, it is the one to whom I will give this piece of bread when I have dipped it in the dish. So they were sharing bread and tea or something. So Jesus now said, the guy that would dip it next. Then, dipping the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered into him. So let me ask you, who possessed Judas with Satan? This is a question, right? I'm not making any assumptions in the Bible, right? I want you to explain. So Jesus was there with just his 12 disciples. How did Satan make it into that room? Why didn't Jesus prevent Satan from coming into that damn room? In fact, Jesus already knew that Satan was right beside Judas. Right beside him, because Judas was next to Jesus, right? Jesus said that the guy that would dip this bread right after I do it. Why didn't Jesus save Judas? Why didn't he pray for Judas? Why didn't he at least cast out the devil? Okay? Remember that Judas dipped that bread. Jesus was saying that one of them is going to betray him, and Judas was one of the people asking the question, who is going to betray you, sir? Because this is not what he would have normally done, right? But the moment he dipped the bread, after his master dipped the bread and gave him, he had to obey, right? He dipped the bread, boom. His mind went off. Satan possessed him. So Jesus told him, what you are about to do, do quickly. But no one at the meal understood why Jesus said this to him. Since Judas had charge of the money, some thought Jesus was telling him to buy what was needed for the festival, or to give something to the poor. As soon as Judas had taken the bread, he went out, and it was night. Jesus had 12 disciples, 12 of them, right? Why did Jesus put their money in charge of the thief? Judas was the guy with dubious character. Why did Jesus put him in charge of the money? So when Jesus was making this statement, they thought it was about the money, right? If Judas was not in charge of the money, they would have known that it was about something else. By that time, Judas' mind was off. The moment Satan possessed him, he just moved like this, stood up like this, and went out. It's written here. As soon as Judas has taken the bread, he went out. And it was night. And in the other verse, we saw what he went to do. He went to look for the chief priest and all these things to discuss how to betray Jesus. Satan possessed Peter again, okay? So, Jesus was talking about his betrayal, and Peter took him aside, dragged his master aside, and began to rebuke him. Say, never, never, Lord, all right? He said, this shall never happen to you. Like, Peter was like, no, this cannot happen to you. But Jesus recognized that this was not Peter, this is a devil inside Peter. Verse 23, Jesus turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. Jesus cast out the devil. Said, get behind me. Peter was in front of Jesus. Jesus cast the devil to his back. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. So the question is, was Judas not innocent? Right? A normal thief. Ordinary thief, they give him money. The normal accountant. You understand? But Jesus brought him into... Normally, Judas would not be part of Jesus' disciple. Right? He would have been doing his thiefy things. But Jesus brought him into the 12 and gave him the treasury. Knowing that this is this guy's weakness. This guy know they use IC money. At the end of the day, when the devil possessed this guy, Jesus did not cast it out. But when he possessed Peter, Jesus rebuked it. When the devil tried to strike a bargain to sift all the disciples behind them, Jesus prayed for Peter that he may be strong. Why didn't Jesus pray for Judas? Now let's look at one more thing. Bro, Jesus laid a curse on Judas. Matthew 26 verse 24. Jesus was speaking now. He said, the Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him that he had not been born. That is the calamity on the guy. You understand? The punishment on the guy's soul will be so much that it would have been better for him not to even have been born at all. Like, this is an eternal punishment. It's better for him. So if he was, he's referring to at a soul level, not physical level. For somebody to tell you that it's better for you not to have been born, that means you were existing somewhere. So that place you were existing would have been better than if you have been born. So Jesus was speaking at a soul level. He laid a curse on Judas. He said, woe. You know what is woe? Cursed be to that man. So what did Judas do? So who now betrayed each other? Was it Judas that betrayed Jesus? Or was it Jesus that betrayed Judas? Judas looked up to Jesus as his master, and Jesus had the power to save Judas from such possession. Jesus did not save Judas from being possessed by the devil. Jesus also put him in charge of the treasury. You understand? Instead of removing anything that has to do with money from this guy, So now, and